Hi, everyone. I am not sure if I'm live yet or not because my entry song did not come on. So, just in case, and I'm sorry that I'm a little late, I actually started watching Daphne and Justin and I got so into it, I forgot about me. So here's our intro, guys. Hi, everyone. So sorry about that. I went right off into a dream world watching Daphne and Justin covering the uh Nancy Guthrie case. Um I yeah, and then I don't know what happened to my introductory there. It's supposed to automatically come on and it didn't. So thank you, Bernice. Let's start up at the top. I hope you're all doing well. Trail hiker, thank you for being here. Becca Ramsey, hello. Ginger, thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate you. Countryside Wildflowers, hi. Detective Tam, and I realized I had called you a Detective Tom a couple of times, and I apologize for that. uh, Renee Harper, hello. Thanks for being here. Brian, always nice to see you. Lynn, you too as well. Thank you. Cindy, Bernice, thanks for being here. Uh, down we go. Little Black Bear, hello. Nice to see you. Joyous, nice to see you. Always love having you both here. Uh, yeah, so Um, somebody had said up top there, I hope there's new information. There's not really any new information. Um, the latest, uh, n you know, that I'm aware of is that Hayden, Haley, Malaya, Justin Smith, and Daniel have all completed polygraph tests. Um, so yet to be confirmed. But that is the word on the street. So that's the latest that I've heard. Now I'm gonna warn you right off the hop. I have the flu. You can probably tell by my voice. Um, so I have kind of clogged up in the chest, the nose, my face is pretty numb, and this is the third day. So I just want to let you know that. So I might have to say, excuse me while I go sneeze or blow my nose or whatever the case may be. But I want to, there we go. I want to thank you all for being here. Thanks, Joyous. We all have our turn at it. Tis the season. So, yeah. The first thing I want to do before we get into it is play the video, the Lily and Jack video that I had. Um, oh, Damien, yours turned into a sinus infection, knock on wood. I just had one of those, so I hope I'm not in for that again. But I actually have nasal spray left over prescription from the last one that I had, so I've been using that to try to beat it to the punch. So um, hopefully that won't happen. Um, yeah, and Damien, thanks for being here, and Happy Turtle, thanks for being here. And who else? There was somebody else that came in there. Um, I have my water here too. Uh, Belinda believes, thank you. Um, yeah, so we're gonna go over to the Jack and Lily video for anybody that didn't see it yet. Um, and I'm sure those of you who did, you won't mind watching it again. And it's a bit provoking. Um, but it's meant to be, and it's meant to make us remember that this is what it's all about, and this is who we should be remembering. Um, so we'll go over and play that first. Hi, Squid. Thanks for being here. And we'll play that, and then we'll get into it. We will get into it. Oops, I pressed the wrong button. There we go, guys. And I'm sorry that that's provoking for some. I did see quite a few people leave, and I know it is provoking, but it's meant to be, because those are the feelings that everybody should be feeling. And, um, you know, I just think we need a reminder of that. Um, it is hard. It is hard, and I understand it can be triggering to listen to, and that's okay. Hi Ariel, thanks for being here. In my opinion, how can anyone support someone who knows anything of the happenings of whatever happened? I know. And somebody knows something, and somebody needs to speak. Um, yeah. So I would not leave. This is true. We need to find them. Yeah. So we're not we're not going to look he listen to the recordings of Janie. Um, but we're going to discuss it, some key points, parts in there. I don't know if you've all heard it. If you haven't, I'll tell you where to go in a bit to listen to it. Um, so, and of course, we're discussing Lily and Jack Sullivan, who went missing on May 2nd, 2024, reportedly last seen May 1st, 2024, as per the RCMP. Um, yeah, Little Black Bear, I know. It is difficult to watch. I mean, I put it together, and even now, just playing that again right now, again. Sorry. Thank you, Joyous, for the correction. That's because when I'm sick, my memory issues are worse than they usually are. So if I mess up, you guys correct me. Thank you. 2025, guys. Um, yeah, so when I just watching that there again, like I mean it gets me crying again too. Thank you, Joyous and Brian. Thank you. Um, yeah, so reportedly last seen May 1st, 2025 on Gerlach Road, Lansdowne Station, Pictou County, Nova Scotia. Um, yeah, and unfortunately, they were never seen again. It was reported that they wandered off, presumed, was adventurous in the beginning, is what was presumed, but eventually realized that something wasn't quite right. Hi, Cheryl. Thanks for being here. Um, so, Janie McKenzie is the mother of Daniel McKenzie. Daniel McKenzie is the boyfriend of the mother, Malaya Brooks Murray, of Lily and Jack Sullivan, for anyone who doesn't know. I know most of you here do, but there are some who do not. Now, if you want to listen to the recordings that the information we're going to be discussing today came from those recordings, you can go to Mike Damon's channel. So that's Mike, and then Dammann. Um, again, Mike, Dammann, and that is the name of his channel. So if you type that in YouTube search, it'll come up. And it's pretty much the last few videos he's put out. Um, and you will hear those Facebook Messenger recordings of Janie, who's having a discussion with Mike. Um, so, and another channel I want to tell you guys about, and thank you, Ginger, for bringing this to my attention. For those of you who do not yet already know of Grizzly True Crime, so grizzly as in a grizzly bear, true crime. She had an episode on, I believe it was last week, with Jack Frost, who is statement analysis. Does statement analysis, um, and she had him on, and they went over Daniel's last media interview. Very, very good watch. I recommend it. Um, Lynn, I watched them, Grizzly and others here. Yeah. So they did a great job. And interestingly enough, now I'm not a statement analysis expert by any means, but like I explained before, when I've worked I'm a nurse. I've worked in healthcare before I went off work. I am retired now. Uh, you just get to learn. You learn. Uh, you pick up on things. And so, interestingly enough, if you listen to when we had went over the video here on this channel, uh, and you listen to what her and especially Jack are stating, it's very much similar to what I was picking up on. And and sometimes with what Jack is saying, it's almost word for word what I had said. So it's not hard to pick up on those things. Um, it's quite noticeable because it's pretty sloppy. Belinda, hi. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Nova, for your tribute to Lily and Jack. It's very bittersweet, yes, but needs to be seen. Exactly. It is bittersweet. Exactly. That is the best way to put it because it's provoking. But it needs to be. And I can especially imagine for you even more so. If it's that provoking for us to watch, I can imagine what it is, for you. Um, yeah, and but it pulls people back to where your thoughts need to be, and it's Lily and Jack Sullivan. Um, yes, much love to Belinda. Hi, Shy. Thanks for being here, Shy. Yeah, much love to Belinda. Yeah. Yeah, so I wanted to mention that as well, about Grizzly True Crime and Jack Fox. And I enjoy watching him. I have to say, out of all the ones I've watched as far as doing analysis, I really like him. And he's followed this right from the beginning. He's followed Daniel very carefully. So there's no flies on him when it comes to Daniel. uh, yeah. Mm. Yes, truth will come. Yeah, it will. It will. I wholeheartedly believe it, Belinda. I really, really do. Yeah. Uh, yeah. Especially with McCammon on the case and just hearing, especially his last interview. Yeah, he was much more forward, um, about his thoughts. I'm sure there's more he probably wished he could have said, but can't. Yeah, yeah. When they asked the question, she asked the question, "Do you feel the children are in the woods?" I did not think he was going to answer that. I thought he was going to say, like he does with every other question, that, well, I can't answer that or uh, it's not up for me to decide that. It's where the evidence leads us. But he actually answered that question very candidly and honestly and, pretty much said he doesn't think they are. It's a very low chance that they are. Um, Yeah. So that kind of shocked me that he said that. Yeah. So again, thanks everyone for being here. So let's get into it. Like I said, we're not going to listen to it, the Janie McKenzie messages, and I explained to you all who do not already know who Janie McKenzie is. In the case of missing Lily and Jack Sullivan. Okay? But we certainly are going to discuss some of the statements she made in those messages. Um, and again, if you want to listen to it yourself, go to Mike Damon's channel. Okay? Um, I explained to you who she is. Daniel's mother. Daniel is the boyfriend of Malaya. Malaya is the parent of Lily and Jack. They all resided on the property approximately for 2 years leading up to the disappearance of Lily and Jack. They had been in a relationship, Malaya and Daniel, for 3 years. And in that time, also had another child who I usually call Baby M. Um, and so there's three children altogether um, who were residing on the property. Um, now, denial can be a safe place. Um, it can be intentional denial to avoid the truth, or it can be our way, our brain's way of protecting us from the truth. And I know people like that. Uh, um, and it's not intentional. It's their brain's way of protecting themselves from the truth that your brain it's protecting you because you're not ready yet. You're not ready. And when you are ready, uh, your brain will then cope with that. And that denial will start to subside. And as I like to use, I always say, the light bulb will come on. Um, and so for me, it's hard to say what's going on with Janie. I don't, I don't want to outright say, you know, she's lying or she's making this up or she's just denying the truth uh, intentionally because I don't know. I really don't know. Um, you know, um, yeah. Um, One thing I also want to do before we get into this, just give me 1 second. Uh, it'll just take me a second to pull this up. Hello to anyone new coming in the room that I've missed into the chat room. Um, oh, actually, you know what? Well, I'll pull it up at the end. Um, it's the numbers in Nova Scotia for mental health. It's free. Um, and a little bit of information there for mental health. And I'll pull those up in the end. Um, and you know, just in case somebody needs them. You never know. Yeah, so like I said, I don't want to outright point any um fingers at anyone because at the end of the day, I have no idea. I'm not inside Janie's head, but we're going to go over a few things. Um, so in the messages, Janie states, everyone is looking at us, her and Daniel, because of you YouTubers. However, the unfortunate truth is people were already looking. The school was looking, CPS was looking, the neighbors were looking, and we've heard all this. We've heard all this. We've heard about the neighbor who said they thought it was a rug house. We know about CPS. Okay. We know about the school. We know about all that. And I'm going to share once again, excuse me, the information that we've already gone over. We've uh, gone over several times on this channel. Um, I should say, we've gone over it several times. So I'm going to pull it up again and I'm going to read it again. Scott Armstrong's statement. The CBC, actually, I can't remember if it's CBC or Global News, but I have it here. And we're going to go over it again. It's a listen. I'll play it. That'll give my sore throat a little break. Missing Nova Scotia children were assessed by Child Welfare Agency months before disappearance. Those are people. Those are people that are already looking in at the situation that Janie thinks people are looking in on because of us YouTubers. It's exposed now because Lily and Jack went missing. It's out in the open. It would still be quiet and just between that household and family, a family secret, which we all have. We all have. But unfortunately, because Jack and Lily are gone and public have the right to know what happened to two young children and to ensure that it's addressed. Um, and that there's justice. Unfortunately, everyone knows this now, but it's not something that YouTubers have caused. This has already been going on prior to YouTubers. Um, People have been looking, and they've been looking for a long time. So I'll bring that up, and we'll listen to it. And I really want people to pay attention to this, please. Probably most of you that are here are the ones that have been paying attention to it because I still see people asking in chats. So please, if you're here and you have not already heard this or you watch this video, please listen carefully because it specifically will state that in a statement, Scott Armstrong, the Nova Scotia Minister of Opportunities and Social Development, confirmed in an interview that the agency had a file on the children prior to their disappearance. So somebody had to have reported that. So that would be people, Janie, who were already looking at you, looking at those on that property, the adults on that property. Probably more specifically Malaya and Daniel, but people were already looking in. Those who reported and those who responded to the report, they were already looking in. Those driving by your property As we know, Belinda stated she had no idea that's where Lily and Jack lived, and she drove by, and every time she would drive by that route, coming into Pictou County, she would have a thought about when she drove by that property. She noticed. The neighbors noticed. This has nothing to do with YouTubers. And this is facts and this is truth. So let's play this. Mm, can't find the little. Oh, there we go. If you guys have any issues hearing this, let me know, okay?
Missing Nova Scotia children were assessed by Child Welfare Agency months before disappearance. By Lindsay Jones and Greg Mercer. Nova Scotia's Child Protection Agency investigated the living conditions of Jack and Lily Sullivan months before their mysterious disappearance from a rural part of the province in early May, a case file that has been reviewed by the minister responsible for child welfare. Scott Armstrong, Nova Scotia's Minister of Opportunities and Social Development, confirmed in an interview that the agency had a file on the children prior to their disappearance, but said it would be inappropriate for him to discuss the agency's findings. With Jack and Lily still missing and a police investigation underway, it's not the right time to dissect the agency's prior involvement, Mr. Armstrong said. We have no idea where those kids are and we should be focused on helping them and finding them and supporting this family, he said. Asked whether a review has been ordered into his agency's prior interaction with the children, he said, "As minister, I've seen a report. I'll talk to that. I've personally seen the report. I asked for it," he said. "I'm aware of how our department was involved in this." He added, "I think we should be focused more on those kids than we are on looking to blame somebody." Mr. Armstrong said there may come a point when the agency's involvement with the children is deserving of more scrutiny, but now, 7 weeks into their disappearance, is not it. Daniel Martel, who was in a common-law relationship with the children's mother and was living with them when they went missing, told the Globe and Mail in an interview in May that a social worker with Child Protective Services visited the home several months ago. The visit was prompted by concerns that had been relayed by someone at the children's school and related to their developmental delays, Mr. Martel said. The children's mother, Malachi Brooks Murray, said she had no comment in relation to Child Protective Services' involvement with Lily and Jack. Mr. Martel has said he had nothing to do with the children's disappearance and has nothing to hide. "I'm keeping the story alive and keeping everyone's hopes up, not just my own," Mr. Martel told the Globe in May. He also said Ms. Brooks Murray had no involvement in the disappearance. "I know Malachi has nothing to do with anything." Child welfare authorities investigate when a report of suspected abuse or neglect is received by the agency. In Nova Scotia, every person has a legal obligation to report concerns of suspected abuse or neglect of a child. The law stipulates that teachers and other childcare workers have an added duty to report. The disappearance of Jack and Lily has prompted one of the largest ground searches in the province's history. Ms. Brooks Murray told police that Lily, 6, and Jack, 4, wandered away from their home in Lansdowne on May 2 while she and Mr. Martel, her then common-law partner, were sleeping. Earlier that same morning, around 6:15 a.m., she reported both children would be absent from school, according to Mr. Martel. He told the Globe that Lily had a cough and Jack was kept home as a precaution. The RCMP's Major Crime Division, involved since day 2 of the search, has since seized electronic devices from the children's home, conducted polygraph tests, analyzed hours of video footage from the road outside their residence, and searched septic systems and abandoned mine shafts in the area. So far, the children appear to have disappeared without a trace. The division, whose primary role is to investigate foul play and homicides, has repeatedly said there is no evidence the children were abducted. The day after the children were reported missing, Ms. Brooks Murray left her home in Lansdowne. She cut off contact with Mr. Martel and later changed her Facebook status to single. Nova Scotia and Ontario are the only 2 provinces without a child and youth advocate. Both provinces rely on provincial ombudsmen to impartially investigate complaints related to child welfare. However, those watchdogs are also responsible for reviewing many other agencies and departments. The role of a child and youth advocate is dedicated to advocating for and protecting the rights of children. The office may also review and investigate deaths or injuries of children receiving government services. More than a year ago, Nova Scotia's progressive Conservative government introduced legislation to create a dedicated office that would be an independent voice for the rights of children, but the initiative has not moved forward. Mr. Armstrong said he is personally committed to creating such an office, and hopes to be able to share more details in the fall. The minister also said his department is taking steps to reduce the workload of child welfare staff, including improving recruitment efforts for new social workers and adding administrative roles to reduce paperwork done by frontline employees. On Thursday, the province announced a reward of up to $150,000 for anyone who comes forward with information about the missing children.
Right. I read all your comments there, guys, and I agree wholeheartedly with everything you're saying. I'm going to read that one more time. Scott Armstrong, Nova Scotia's Ministry of Opportunities and Social Development. So he's the top guy. Um, confirmed in an interview that the agency had a file on the children prior to their disappearance, but said it would be inappropriate for him to discuss the agency's findings. And we also know from another article that the teachers did have something to do with those reports. Oh, Joyous, oh my goodness, thank you. Thank you for sharing this video. For some reason, I had not seen this. Oh, wow, really? I'm glad I played it then, because I saw some people asking, and um, I was surprised. This case is so heartbreaking. We all want the truth. Bring Jack and Lily home. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Joyous. You are precious. And you're such a wonderful supporter of I was going to say the families, the channels. We feel like family. Thank you so much. Um, aw. Yes, isn't she? Yeah, Joyce is a good person. Hi, Robin. Thanks for being here. That's disgusting. He should be discussing it all, yeah, considering it's their fault. They didn't help these innocent children. Yeah, I agree. They have fault. I feel Scott Armstrong needs to do more. And had they done what they were supposed to, maybe we wouldn't be here today. Jack and Lily would be here. They definitely would be. Definitely. I totally believe that. Dottie, thank you for being here. Um, hello everyone. I'm new to this channel. Glad I caught alive. Well, thank you very much for being here, and we appreciate you being here. Um, yeah, and notice how he said that Nova Scotia doesn't have the advocate yet, and it still doesn't. Um, yeah, I just there's definitely an issue. There is definitely an issue, and I spoke of that in my last video. I believe it was the last video Shannon and I did together. Might have been the video before that. I know it was the video with Shan, and I kind of got a little upset during that video, but the more we're finding out, the more upsetting it is. Definitely. So I just wanted to play that again. I'm glad I did. I guess some had not heard it yet. And yeah, so they most certainly, uh, they themselves confirmed that CPS was contacted. Um, so yeah. So, yeah, so as I stated, the spotlight has been on this situation for a while. It has nothing to do with YouTubers. Um, it has nothing to do with us at all. I mean, the spotlight was there. It's just now public. More people are aware of what was going on. because Lily and Jack are missing. And, that's when things become public because public has a right to know. The public has a right to understand what took place here, where are Lily and Jack, and the public has the right to want justice for Lily and Jack. Um, so that's the only difference. That's the only difference. Um, yeah. So now, hmm, and that includes Malaya. Okay. So when they're being looked at, that includes Malaya as well. Uh, in fact, as far as being looked at, it would be all three of them, but more so Daniel and Malaya. Um, now, like I said, the difference is Lily and Jack are missing now, right? And people are starting to see the statistics, and the statistics are here. We have rug use, we have domestic violence, we have um, abuse, we have CPS involvement, we have Daniel, was considered a step parent. I don't call it that anymore. However, he was considered as being in a parental role. Um, we have probably some I'm missing here, but a lot of statistics, issues at school, it being chalked up as being parents saying autistic. These are all part of the statistics, and it's check, 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 check down the list. Um, and we know that this is a domino effect. So the more the public finds out, the more we see that statistically, Lily and Jack's disappearance is fitting into these statistics and the domino effect that happens when these statistics are taking place. Um, this is not uncommon, uh, unfortunately. And it tells the truth of what led up to the disappearance of Lily and Jack. Um, that that is truth and facts. That's what the truth and facts are. And to give a refresh, uh, I'll bring up Daniel's. So, stepfather of missing Nova Scotia children facing charges involving adults, and we know what the next part of that is. So, we'll bring that up because these are the facts and the truth. These are the statistics in situations like this. Whether Lily and Jack wandered off and something else took place, somebody got a hold of them, they did end up in the woods somewhere, that that would stem from the neglect of the statistics taking place in the household, or whether something nefarious took place. No matter what, it's all a part, any of it is a part of the statistics that were going on in this household. um So, wait now. I don't think that's the right one, but that's okay. We'll listen to this one too, because, okay, so stepfather of missing Nova Scotia children facing charges involving adults. Martel was arrested on Monday, RCMP say. Oh, yeah, they just used the picture from his other interview. So we'll listen to this because, again, this is truth and facts. This is what was going on in the household leading up to Lily and Jack Sullivan going missing. Sorry, guys, I forgot to share the screen. Just give me 2 seconds. And this is the hard stuff that I'm sure is quite hard for Janie Mackenzie to talk about. But it's the truth and it's the facts. Um, yeah.
Stepfather of missing NS children facing charges involving adult. Martel was arrested on Monday, RCMP say. Ali Thompson, Angela McIvor, CBC News, posted, January 29, 2026, 1:59 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Daniel Martel, the stepfather of 2 Nova Scotia children who disappeared nearly 9 months ago, has been charged with sexual assault, and forcible confinement, CBC News has learned. Nova Scotia RCMP confirmed that Martel was arrested on Monday and is facing 3 charges involving an adult complainant. Martel is due in Pictou Provincial Court on March 2. Martel, 34, was living with Lily and Jack Sullivan and their mother at the time of their disappearance from his family home in Lansdowne, NS, last May. Watch Daniel Martel is facing 3 charges. Lily, 6, and Jack, then 4, were reported missing on May 2, 2025, when their mother called 911. Search and rescue teams spent days combing through the thick woods that surround the rural home in the sparsely populated community of Lansdowne. But the extensive grid search turned up little evidence, apart from a pink blanket and child-size boot print. Since then, authorities have brought in cadaver dogs, conducted 75 interviews and several polygraph examinations, reviewed 1,066 tips and 8,000 video files and have assigned RCMP units from multiple provinces to investigate the case. The children's disappearance has fueled widespread speculation and accusations online amid international media attention. But RCMP Staff Sergeant Rob McCommon said earlier this month that none of the children's family members were suspects in the disappearance. I wouldn't say anybody's a suspect, said McCommon, the officer in charge of major crime and behavioral sciences. We continue to gather information, whatever evidence that we are able to find, and we'll make our decisions based on that. More top stories.
But Janie avoids talking about those things or discussing those things. Those are the facts. That is the truth. And again, I don't know if it's intentional denial or if it's denial because her brain is trying to protect her. I don't know. I really don't know. And yeah, but there you heard it. That's fact and that's truth. And again, people were looking prior to. People were looking prior to Lily and Jack going missing. Now the public, more of the public, because the public was already aware. Because, you know, when you have your public school teachers, your CPS staff serving public, you have public driving by, your neighbors are the public. Um, that's the public. They were already aware. YouTubers did not do that. Um, Now, in Janie's messages to Mike, she brings up her clothes, her property, herself, and Daniel being stared at in public. Like I said, people were already looking before. Yes, they're probably looking more now because Lily and Jack are missing. Of course. Now everyone knows, not just here in Pictou County, everyone in the world knows what was going on here, the statistics that were taking place on the property. She doesn't dare mention the rugs, the DV, the neglect, the CPS, Daniel's charges. We just played. We just played it. Those are facts and truth. Um, and that's what most YouTubers and mainstream media are focused on. Yes, there's a couple of YouTubers being silly, and honestly, I think that's their way of getting through hearing the material, the things that they're hearing that went on with Lily and Jack, that it's so devastating to them to hear that it's their way of getting through it. Um, in my opinion. Um, and hi to everyone. Yeah, the public is outraged. Exactly, Joyous. Exactly. Yeah. And they have a right to be, is the thing. They have a right to be. Like when things are happening and you just have, like I said, it's still the public who knows the school, all those things I just mentioned above prior to Lily and Jack going missing. Um, but it's just that small circle of people that know. I mean, I'm sure people at the school were staring. You know, but but now everyone knows. But that's not the public's fault. And the public have a right to stand up for Lily and Jack and want justice for Lily and Jack and any other child in those circumstances. Um, and that's how it should be, honestly. That's how it should be. Um, but yeah, it should be discussed. There are two children missing. Um, and it tells the truth of what led up to the disappearance. Yep, it's the statistics that were taking place, and I know I keep repeating that. That's the facts and the truth. Janie also is hyper focused on Malaya and her leaving and not crying. Now, I want you guys to know one. I'm touching on Malaya. I'm not dicking up for Malaya, but I'm going to point out facts because the facts are the facts. And to me, you don't have to say things that are not necessarily untrue to try to make someone else look bad, you know? Um, I think everyone already feels, we know that there was some domestic violence going on there. We get that. And we understand, most of us, what it's like when a woman or a man, because there are men too, but statistically women are in that situation. But I don't think any of us are going to make up excuses either for Malaya. But I'm also not going to stretch the truth to try to make it look worse than what it is. So when Janie is saying, Malaya never shed a tear, you know, and you'll hear that in those recordings if you go listen to them. But the truth and the facts are Malaya did cry. Daniel himself stated she was crying on the second at bedtime, uncontrollably. She was crying on the third, prior to the RCMP, asking her if she felt safe there. Daniel himself said it. Logan said it. And again, there's a reason why they asked her that, by the way. She was crying in the kitchen. There's a witness who spoke up and said, yes, she was crying in the kitchen. She started bawling. So I backed off out of the conversation, and I'm quoting, because I didn't want to upset her any further. During the briefing, she was crying. Us in the ambulance. And she took a breakdown. She broke, I should say. She broke on the 3rd prior to leaving. She was also crying during her interview, her one interview, at the very end, which was edited out. But if you see the unedited version, you can see it. And her knees buckle and she broke. Um, so again, not sticking up for her and saying, you know, she didn't do anything wrong, because that's quote again from Janie McKenzie. I'm just sticking with the facts. Those are the facts and the truth. It just is. So there's no need. It only makes a person themselves look bad when they state something that isn't truth or fact, right? Because then it makes people wonder why. Why? Like, why is she making that up when we know that Malaya was crying? We've heard it over and over and over and over. Um, and again, I don't want to say that it's intentional. Uh, I don't know. I have no idea, but I know that it's facts that Malaya, and it's true that she was crying. Um, yeah. So, and I mean, you can't deny the fact. I'm sorry. And Malaya leaving the property, that's the other thing. So, from everything I've learned, Malaya left the property because she and baby M were in a situation that was not safe. And I knew that as soon as I heard that our CMP specifically asked her, "Do you feel safe here?" Because there's just, guys, there's no other reason for the RCMP to ask her that. Absolutely no other reason, except they were trying to get her and the baby off that property and do it in, a roundabout way. There's no other reason to ask that at all. Again, and I'll say it again, if my grandson was here and he went missing and I called the authorities for help and they came and they looked at me and said, "Do you feel safe here?" Um, I'd have, that just doesn't fit. If I'm saying, the thought is that the children wandered off, and that's how things are being treated, and they were at that time when that was stated to her on the 3rd. Um, yeah, like that just, I mean, common sense tells you. I don't have to keep going on about it. Her and baby M were not in a good situation. And the authorities seen it, her mother seen it, and her family, well, outside of her mother, they all saw that. They all saw that. And they were trying their best to get Malaya to see that. And there's no doubt in my mind that that probably was denial on, I shouldn't say no doubt. In my opinion, that was probably denial on Malaya's part, in the sense of her brain trying to protect her. Um, yeah. And obviously, if she didn't eventually clue in, uh, without it being written on a big giant billboard or someone screaming it out of a blowhorn, uh, i- i- that the CPS was going to have to take baby M. So, you know, she eventually realized she had to go, or baby M was going to be taken by CPS. And she didn't want that to happen. So, yes, so she finally left. And Janie states, I would stay. I would never leave. And I believe her. I believe her that she would stay and that she would never leave. That's what the problem is. That's why the kids are missing. Because Malaya did do that initially until she did finally decide that she was going to leave prior to the kids going missing. And then finally, when the kids went missing, that's what happens. That's the cycle. The woman stays. And then things like this happen. No blame. I'm not blaming anybody because I get it. I believe me, I get it. I believe me. But I'm just pointing out that, you know, yes, I do believe Janie would stay and probably never leave. And good thing that Malaya did finally. Unfortunately, and I've always said this, was a little bit too late. Uh, you know, Lily and Jack would still be here. That's a definite. If one of two things had have happened, if Malaya had have left prior to when she did, or if CPS did what they should have done, the kids would still be here. Lily and Jack would still be here. That's a definite. So, but Janie doesn't understand that. Janie doesn't get that staying is not what the woman should do. Staying are the actions that were taken already that led up to Lily and Jack missing. That's why they're not here. Because Malaya did stay. Janie, she doesn't get that. And that it wasn't safe to continue to stay there with baby M. Janie herself said she was scared of a porta-pick situation taking place. And anyone who is from Nova Scotia knows what that means. So that was a horrific mass Pictou that ended 22 people's lives. So that's quite a statement to make. So for anyone to think that it would be safe for Malaya and baby M to stay there, no, no, it wasn't safe for any of them to stay there. And I just wish all of them had have gotten out of there. But it's unfortunate they didn't. Mm. And whether something nefarious took place or not, neglect, without a doubt, played a hand in this. Either way. Because kids go missing due to neglect, when those statistics are taking place, or though they go missing due to filicide. And if you don't know what that is, I'll let you look it up. Filicide. I'm not saying that's what took place here, but I'm just saying it happens, and all the statistics are there. And again, I'm not laying blame. I'm just trying to lay this out. Um, you know, I'm just trying to lay it out. And that the most dangerous time for things like this to take place is when it surrounding the time around when the woman is going to leave. Uh, but at the end of the day, Malaya has to be accountable and culpable for that. Um, there's just no two ways about it. Without that, there is no hope in her future of recognizing the cues of an abusive, coercive relationship that she will have to know how to protect baby M from, or any other children she may have down the road. She'll need to know. She'll need lots of therapy and education to understand that. Um, and to learn, people who are accountable can move on to therapy and education without being that accountability. You're not usually open to therapy and education, so there has to be accountability and culpability. um if there's no full acknowledgement of what took place there, of what led up to and happened to Lily and Jack, um, there's no justice. And Malaya cannot simply be plucked out of that. She just can't. She can't be plucked out of this. Uh, but it'll be up to the RCMP to decide where that accountability, not so much the accountability, but the culpability lays. Um, and including with Janie, too. Remember, she admits hearing the children, which makes her the last adult witness to their whereabouts. She had no response or reaction to hearing them that morning. She didn't get up to see, is that Lily and Jack? How come they're not in school today? Um, because remember, she says she didn't know they weren't going to be out of school. So, there was no check on them. There was no interest in what was going on with them. And she's placed herself in that situation, and maybe that's what's eating her up, and where the denial of the truth and the facts. Maybe that's where the denial comes from. Because again, that's truth and that's facts. It's truth and it's facts. Um, Thank you to everyone coming in. Um, I see a bunch of, excuse me, new folks coming in there. I'm sorry, I'm not going back and forth. It's because I'm not feeling well, and I want to get through this for you guys, and in a timely manner as well. Nova, I hope that baby M is having specialist therapy for the domestic violence in the home, as it doesn't matter the age. You're 100% correct, of the children, the effects or a parent in older life. Yeah, the effects are apparent in older life. And I mean, you look at how at that age, how quick they're starting to pick stuff up. It's like boom, 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 one after the other. Like I see it with my grandson and baby Emma around the same age, might be a month or two in the difference. But and I just see like how quick. I mean, I remember with my boys too, but it was a long time ago. But I really, watching my grandson, and it's amazing. I mean, their brains are literally that where that saying comes from, a sponge, honestly, and it's shaping them big time for, it's a big part of their growth and development for the next, each stage. And absolutely, absolutely, she definitely would need some therapy because it's shaping her for sure, or was, I should say. Yeah, so that'll be up to RCMP to decide where the culpability is with Malaya, what the culpability is, because we don't know. They know much more than we know. I mean, they know way more. You know, we don't know. Was there threats being made to create fear in her leaving? I mean, sometimes the threats can be pretty bad. That other family members will be hurt, unalived. And this is all allegedly, because I'm not saying that Daniel did any of that. I don't know. But I'm saying RCMP would have more of the facts. And as time goes on, I'm sure Malaya will tell more as well. But um, I'm just saying that um, there's when the RCMP look at all that, they're going to decide based on how bad the situation was. That'll all be up to them in regards to her and Janie and Daniel, all three of them, all of them. Confinement. Well, we know that is now so that Daniel's capable of that. I just played the news article there for you of what he had been charged with. Now, at this point, we don't know who. Um, and we don't know who that was, but we know he's capable of it. And, you know, we can kind of assume, who that's regarding. We can venture a guess. I'll put it that way, who that was regarding. But it's not been confirmed. But no matter, we know that he is obviously capable of it, and innocent until proven guilty as well. These charges did go through, so and there's a reason why. Um, and we know the things that he did and said to Taylor as well. So we know there's issues there. That is truth, and that is facts. And that's what we're interested in, truth and facts. Um, Now, speaking of that, I'm going to play the other video that I have there as well because this mentions the rugs. Um, and as I said, there's things that Janie wants to bring up, but other things that she just, I mean, vroom, right over her head that she just doesn't go there. And the drugs is one of those things. So I will play that video as well and give my voice a little rest. And guys, if you have any comments or questions, try to wait until we get near the end. I'll tell you when we're nearing it. And and then we'll do some chatting at the end. That way that can just let me focus on getting through this, and then I'll go over to the chat just because it'll help me get through it quicker where I'm not feeling well, and then we can all go for the evening, and I can go make some chicken broth, snuggle up in the bed, and listen to I'm going to listen to True Tea Time with, oh, my memory. God, I hate my memory. Tea Time on True Crime with Shenanigans. I'm going to listen to that first, and then I'll finish watching uh, Justin and Daphne, and then I'll probably fall asleep while I'm watching that. But yeah, so we'll go over here to the other video with Daniel. Step farther, no, please. Okay. Hopefully this has the audio with it and I can give my throat a rest. Okay, it's a video. Yeah, so I can play that. Um, and thanks for being here, guys, tonight. Thank you to all of you beautiful people. And like I said, if I miss saying hello to any of you, I apologize. I was reading my notes that I had been writing for the last couple of days. I wanted to come on a couple of days ago and do this, but because I ended up not feeling well and it started a couple of days ago, I caught it from my little grandson. He had it first, and then his mom got it. Now I have it. Um, yeah, so I haven't been sick, I bet you, in years, like with this type of stuff going on outside of infections and other stuff with my vascular issues and blood pressure and all that. But as far as like having the flu, I haven't had the flu in a long time. No, I want that off there. Stop screen. All right, I'll share this new video. Or not new video, other video. See, I'm getting mixed up because my head gets more messed up when I'm not feeling good. All right. Any issues hearing it, you guys let me know.
Okay, Daniel. So what's the latest with this case?
I think we're going to have to dive into some questions so I can, really try to answer that because, I mean, there's so much. But what I can say is my blood was taken or drawn, and they got a few drops in my blood for that, to check my DNA, because my DNA is obviously going to be on the blanket. But I can't really disclose, and I'm pretty limited on what I know about the blanket at this moment. But I can say, like, with the DNA collection, something's definitely proceeding forward with that.
How did that go when they took your sample? Did they take you into the station?
Yeah, it was done at the station. An investigator did it. They have an applicator, which, they hit the end of your finger with it, just like you were testing for your blood sugar. Just, pinch the end of your finger, and I had to squeeze for 20 minutes to get some blood out. But after we get those 4 drops out, it goes onto a little pad, and it's put in a envelope and then plastic bag and then sealed up for evidence.
Do you know of anyone else who had their sample taken?
No. I was never disclosed any of that.
Yeah.
Nor do I ask, because I know I would not get an answer in return.
Right. You've been asking questions.
Yeah, I ask a lot of questions. Sometimes they can't answer.
And was that voluntary, or did they
That
call
was
you
100% voluntary. They never have to get a warrant to do anything. I'm always cooperative. Just like in the past, I keep asking them, do you want my phone? Do you want me to do more polygraphs? Like I'm open to everything. And I always tell them that. They say, Daniel, no, we don't need your phone. Daniel, no, it's not necessary to do any more polygraphs. So at this point, I'm very cooperative, you know. And when they did up the paper for consent on my DNA, you know, they fill in the paper, you know, May 2nd, missing persons case for Jack and Lily. And then they go through it. And then there's the box checked for criminal involvement, no criminal involvement. And they check the box for no criminal involvement. And I put my signature on it, and there was my consent.
How did you feel when you saw that box was checked?
Very happy. But I've known for, you know, since the start that I'm 100% innocent. But to see investigators say that to me before, but then also, you know, see it visually with my own eyes, it was a big thing.
So it's your understanding, you believe that RCMP do not consider you a suspect?
I'd say 100% I'm not considered as a suspect at this point.
Why is that?
I mean, from that box being checked. But we can also go back to when I had my polygraph exam. When we went over the questions beforehand, all the questions were on death, right? So they concluded that by the end of it, I was truthful with all my all my answers. So I didn't have anything to do with the murder of Lily and Jack. And there was no questions on the disappearance or abduction or kidnapping or anything of that nature. So that leaves me with, I didn't murder the kids. I have nothing to do with the disappearance because they did not ask any questions on that.
And so you mentioned that in the polygraph, they didn't ask you about the disappearance and whether you had anything to do with it. But I'm going to ask, did you have anything to do with the disappearance of Jack and Lily?
No,
Did you kill them?
no.
What do you think happened to them?
At this point, I'm completely just not sure. I mean, I've thrown speculation out in the past and, you know, narratives that I think, you know, or theories that, you know, what I think may have happened. But at this point, I have to just go with what the RCMP say because they have so much information, they have more resources, and they're the ones that are fully invested in this case. They have the, you know, intellect and professional training to do what they do. It's been 8 months, and I know a lot of people think that, you know, the kids are not alive anymore, but I hold out hope 100%. I'll always hold out hope every day because there's no reason not to.
Do you think it's criminal?
Yes. But it will not pivot to a criminal case or a criminal investigation from a missing persons until they have a suspect and they're going to be investigated and then, you know, formally charged.
Do you get any sense from RCMP that they believe this is criminal?
Yes, but they don't openly share that or talk about that concept with me. That's pretty limited. They use as many, use the least amount of words they can to convey what they're trying to get across or questions, or it's usually me who tries to dive in depth with them, but you know, they're pretty tight-lipped on everything, and they should be.
How many times have they officially interviewed you?
Formally interviewed. The very first one was about 4 hours, and since then, I'd say about maybe 5 times. I don't know the count exactly, but probably around 5 times.
And when was the latest one?
The latest one would have been, that would have been on the blanket. So, and the actual formal interview for that wasn't very long. That was probably about 20 minutes. But the amount of time I spend with them is a lot because we go over a lot. It's just me asking questions and how can I help them, and so it's usually like an hour and a half to 2 hours. I only plan on being there for 20 minutes or whatever they have to do with me. But it's just like we just keep talking.
And so when you say interviews, that would be recorded on the record interrogations?
Yes. Yeah, that's the audio recordings.
There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive to her. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all.
Guys, I just have to stop there because everyone is noticing this. So I'm going to just go back a little smidgy more. Again, this is such obvious. Anybody can pick this out. You do not have to be trained in this. Watch his head when he answers the question.
Through the audio recordings.
There have been allegations from Malaya's friends and family that you were abusive to her. Were you?
No.
They said that when she moved in with you, she cut off all contact with them and you monitored her phone.
She also monitored mine. We both had the same passwords on her phone. And her friends, she blocked her friends on my phone and she blocked them on her own phone.
So how would you describe your relationship before the children went missing?
Exactly, Rob, not Ginger.
I don't really want to talk on that because I don't really want to talk on too much to do with Malaya. It's best that we don't.
Okay.
But you just did.
And so you mentioned that there were some accusations about your past drug use. I've read some things about it being drug use that week, the week the children went missing.
Okay. So there we go. The drugs. We'll just go back a little bit. Yeah, so you saw when he answered that question, and wow, that's some really bad body language there. And he kept doing it. Yes, yes, yes. The head up and down. Wow.
And so you mentioned that there were some accusations about your past drug use. I've read some things about it being drug use that week, the week the children went missing. Is there any truth to that?
No, I didn't have any drugs. And Major Crimes knows that.
Yeah. So drug use. Oh, rug use. I don't know. That's the biggest bad word on YouTube. Yeah, Robin, exactly. Hi, Paul, and to anybody else that came in that I missed. Let me just take a look back. I feel bad that I'm not going back and forth, but like I said, it's just because I'm not feeling too well. Uh, Seaweed. Seaweed, Nova Scotia. Love the name. Hi, and thanks for being here. And anybody else that I missed, thank you so much for being here. No, it's not what she asked. I know. I know. He just totally goes right over it, and I'll play the rest of it. Um, but yeah, so we know that there was 100% the past rug use. Um, and because as she says, you mentioned they brought up your past rug use. Um, and we know that he's admitted it before. And again, point being is just that, um, you know, Janie McKenzie, again, who is Daniel's mother, when you listen to those recordings, she's not discussing any of that stuff. Those are the facts. And though that is the truth of what led up to what was going on leading up to the disappearance of Lily and Jack. And I don't think Janie understands the statistics and that's why I'm going to put these numbers up in the end. And you know, I would love to see Janie call, you know, and talk to somebody. She did mention in those messages as well that she has no one to talk to. But there are people out there that she can talk to. and they will help her understand this. They will help her understand why all these facts and this truth is important as it led up to the disappearance of Lily and Jack. They will help her understand that. They will educate her. Um, yeah, because it does play a role, 100%, whether they just wandered off or something nefarious took place. um, it plays a fact. Woman's Warrior, thank you for being here. Um, any survivors here from the get-go automatically knew that DM is a perpetrator of DV from the very first moment I saw him, but I have dealt with hundreds. They all have certain traits and red flags. Exactly. And I knew it long ago too. I spoke of it. I think it was about 6 weeks in, and no, no, I don't, Belinda. I don't think it was intentional. No, that's that's body language when you're not telling the truth. Your brain fights against that non-truth. That's his brain telling the truth as his mouth isn't. That's what that is. Yeah. No, it wasn't intentional. Um, yeah. So, yeah, I think it was about 6 weeks in, and Ginger and I have been talking about it behind the scenes long ago. And I took heat because I was actually, I think I might have been the first channel that actually started saying it, that there's, I'm pretty sure domestic violence is going on here. And I started pointing all the things out that was leading me to believe that, just due to my uh, experience of things, career-wise and life. um, I think I might have been the first channel that started saying that out loud on air. And wow, got a lot of nasty emails and nasty comments. And yeah, kind of like how Shan does. But yeah, I don't anymore. I do not anymore. Finding solace. Hi. Since the beginning, I was saying DV. Yep. Yep. A lot of people picked up on it. Yeah. All right. So we'll go back to this and finish this video.
Or they would have, charged me with possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia. There was nothing at the house.
And I just want to point out again, that's another thing that Daniel does. Daniel, it's like saying, and I already said that when we went over this video before with him. I've been saying it forever. Two things I've always said about Daniel is that Daniel copies what other people say. So if he hears someone saying something, then he'll use it to make it his own. And that he relies on the fact that he was never caught doing something, so that means he didn't do it. Not that he actually isn't doing it. It was that he wasn't caught, so that means he didn't do it or isn't doing it. So that's what he's saying there, that, they didn't find any, I wasn't charged for any. That doesn't mean you weren't doing them. You're not answering the question.
So, and they know that.
What is your history in terms of the drug use? What would you like to share, just to clear the air?
I did not have any drugs. People thought I was doing drugs during the search. Absolutely not. I don't owe any drug dealers money. I don't owe anyone drugs. I'm not a drug dealer. I don't manufacture drugs. Can't really speak on
That
anything more
wasn't
than
the
that.
Those have been all
question.
the accusations
Yeah.
made at you.
that I have, manufactured drugs, sell them.
And very similar to Janie McKenzie, his mother, focusing on stuff. Now, I don't know who's saying that because it's not any focus that we've had here. We focused on the fact of the rug use. That's bad enough. That is bad enough to have an issue with math and Coca-Cola with children in the home. That's bad enough. Um, I I'm not sure of anybody. I mean, I remember it being a thought because, of course, when someone is doing math and Coca-Cola, that goes along with it. So then you go, well, geez, I hope he wasn't into it beyond that and selling it and making it. Then once there's nothing to prove that, that's kind of like that's where it ends. And there was really never anything that ever proved that or ever, nobody ever went down that path. Um, but he's gonna go down it. The only thing people are focused on are the facts and the truth, which is the rug use of meth and Coca-Cola. And as you guys heard the other day, me discussing what family members on the Mackenzie's side are stating, they're even saying. And and I meant to say that earlier as well. Even family members are looking in, you know, and were prior to the kids going missing regarding the rug issues. Um, and I shared with you guys information that came my way um, regarding what family members have been saying. So, um, yeah, so I don't care about all that other stuff, making it, selling it, and blah, 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 blah. That's Daniel going down that path of just
I
make
give them to
believe.
people to sell. It's crazy.
No drug party that night.
No, there was no drug party. There was no
I
losing during the
agree,
middle of the
woman's
night.
warrior.
When we pulled into the yard on Thursday afternoon, it would have been about 3:50 or just right before 4 o'clock. The vehicle did not move till the next morning until I got in it and then went searching for Lilly&Jack that morning when Malay was on dispatch or contacted dispatch.
How have all of these allegations impacted you?
At the start, it didn't bother me because they're obviously all not true. Basically anyone can just go on there and say whatever they want without any recourse at all. And over time, it started to get to me because it's just constant, right? I tried to keep up on it all and tried to, tell everyone the truth and correct everyone, but it was just too much. When those groups start to get so large and there's thousands and thousands of comments and thousands of questions every day, that's too much. And then you have YouTube creators, they just go on and, they basically become delusional. They have their mob and they look to destroy, or they're completely obsessed with me in the case.
Yeah, I mean, what have you learned about the true crime community?
That it's absolutely vicious and, I said this word a lot, but obsessive. And a lot of those creators in the true crime community, it's like basically, talking to like a barnyard animal, I guess you could say.
That's
They
true,
don't add
Paul.
any value
Yes.
other than just being there.
Janie's family, Belinda.
Do you
And
feel at this point things are
Daniel's,
getting
but
worse?
Janie's siblings.
Or has it eased up at any point?
The community it's becoming more aggressive with their conspiracies and theories due to my lack of engagement online. I've received numerous death threats, and Major Crimes has notified me on that, and they're working hard to basically get them under control and find out who's doing them.
How are these death threats coming in?
I mean, I get them daily on my phone. That's a normal thing, but Major Crimes was aware of them. I'm not sure if they came in for tips, call-ins, or some other way, but they didn't want to dive into that. They're pretty limited on what they can tell me about any of it. I mean, basically because, they don't want me to get worried and everything like that, but pretty serious stuff, I guess.
How are you dealing with that?
I'm dealing pretty well with it because, nothing really scares me in that aspect. It's been 8 months, and I don't really put much thought into where much, I don't recognize it as, having any impact on my life personally. But I imagine a lot of individuals are probably like scared for me, I guess, because, they care about me. But for me personally, I just see it as like another rock that skips off the water. There still is, people with big hearts out there and open minds, but they're not on there posting. But I do have loyal supporters, and I appreciate every single one of them.
So now that we're coming up, getting to 9 months in this investigation, what's
And
your
this
sense? Where do
interview
you
was
think
before
the
his
case
charges.
stands?
I think the case, it's moving forward, but there is so much information to, really, examine and really go through before you can complete this part of information and move to the next. And I mean, there's so many tips being called in, and then there's tips that are absolutely useless. Like when you see me out in public, don't call in a tip. I mean, that's just total nonsense, because you're slowing down the investigators and you're slowing down the social media team that they have, and or the guy who checks the tips and reviews the tips. I mean, you slow him down when you're just putting in tips that say, well, we seen Daniel at a gas station buying a Gatorade, because that has
Don't listen to
happened.
that.
Right.
If you have a
Wow.
tip that's
What would
worthy,
you like to see
call
happen
the
in this case?
RCMP.
I would like to see it closed and Lilly&Jack found safely, and someone is charged with criminal offenses.
Exactly, Robin.
Because that's what you think will be
Yeah.
the result here.
Yeah.
You don't think they're in the woods?
No.
Have your own theories shifted at all along the way?
They have, but they always come back to what I originally thought. After I just, go over all the information so many times, or lay in bed and go over everything in my mind from the very beginning to where it is now. The theories in my mind change, but I still have to go with what RCMP say, because they have the most information on the case. And I know that's their job to bring justice for Lilly&Jack and to bring them home safely.
I see Canada has Clare's Law, which is giving people the right to know if their current or ex-partner has any previous history of violence or abuse. Good. Good. I didn't know that. I knew that they started doing the allowing us to see the list for those charged with crimes against children, but that the other would still only be privy to law enforcement. But that's good. That's awesome. Good. Uh, okay, we're almost done here, folks. Um, yeah, so I think I left off saying, that our CMP will be the ones to decide where, you know, everyone's culpability, where that all ends up in this. And that includes Daniel, Malaya, and Janie. Because remember, Janie put herself in that position. She said she was the last one who heard the children. She's the last one who didn't see them, but she heard them and places them in the backyard. So she herself has some accountability and culpability there as well. Um, yep. And how much and what type, that'll be up to the RCMP. We can only speculate. Now, Janie does bring up, it's being stated that she red rummed Lily and Jack. And that's, I do have to say, there's no evidence of that. Um, you know, we're not privy to any of that. If that has been said, or if the RCMP think that or they're looking at that, that's not anything we're privy to. So, I mean, we've never, ever stated anything like that here on this channel, ever, ever. Um, and I know Shan hasn't, and I know Daphne and Justin haven't, and I know uh, uh, Charmaine hasn't, and I know Sunny hasn't. For other channels, I don't know, but I do know that none of us have ever stated anything like that ever, because that's not facts. And as far as we know, there's no truth to that. Now, if that comes about, that, there's some facts backing a statement like that up, or we find out there's truth to any of that, then that's a different story because, again, we will speak about the facts and the truth. Um, but I have to agree with her on that one. That, that shouldn't be said. Um, and there obviously would have been an arrest made if that was, if that was the facts and the truth that was, that's out there. There would obviously Janie would be in handcuffs and in a cell somewhere. Um, yeah. Um, she's also bringing up her grandchildren. And, aren't the YouTubers concerned about how this is going to affect her grandchildren? Um, you know, but uh, I think I would be more concerned about the facts and the truth. Everything above that I just discussed, I think I'd be more concerned with that and how that is going to affect them. Not a couple of YouTubers out of all the YouTubers who are saying something about your clothes, or in general about somebody's clothes or their property or Justin's dog or Janie's dog or raking the driveway or I you know, it's kind to put it in perspective, it's kind of like a small brush fire and a house fire, and somebody being concerned about the small brush fire over the house burning. Which one's more of a concern? Well, it's probably more of a concern everything um, above there that is facts and truth that we just went over, um, in comparison to um, a, a couple of YouTubers out of all the YouTubers who are roasting on about somebody's clothes or their property and those things, those sorts of things. That's a brush fire compared to the house fire going on. Um, so, and again, that's denial. Is it denial intentional denial? Is it denial because that's just where her brain, what, that's only what her brain can accept right now? Um, I don't know. I don't know. I have no idea. Um, yeah, but I know those are not the concerns. that I would have of my worrying about my grandchildren finding out. I'd be more concerned about them finding out about the statistics of what was going on in the household before Lily and Jack went missing. The fact that Lily and Jack went missing. The fact that there are three individuals, um, the mistakes of three individuals leading up to the disappearance of Lily and Jack on that property, which for one of them, all the grandchildren, but one in particular, is Baby M's parents and grandmother. Those three adults on the property. I'd be more concerned about that. That's the house fire going on, not the brush fire. Um, yeah. Uh, anyways, that's probably going to have more of an effect on them. And if Lily and Jack are found and it's determined that they wandered off on their own and perished, which still isn't good because, again, neglect, neglect, which that neglect leading up to it was the is due to the statistics going on in the on that property and in that trailer, um, that led up to that. Um, but it's certainly better than something, not better, that's not a good word, but in comparison to something nefarious taking place, um, you know, then they'll know that truth. And that has nothing, again, to do with YouTubers. Again, that has to do with what was taking place on the property. Um, so yeah, but that's the facts and the hard truth of it. And yeah. One other thing Janie mentions is Malaya trying to set him up. Um, so that she states she knows she'll go away for a long time for what she's done, meaning taking Lily and Jack and hiding them. But uh honestly, there's only one reason why a mother would do that. And, in my opinion, that would be to protect them. So if that is the case of what took place, um, no, she wouldn't be going away for a long time. She wouldn't be going away. Um, you know, in general, if a mother is protecting their children from violence and, you know, possible filicide taking place, trying to avoid those circumstances, and she takes the steps to protect her children, no, nobody's gonna lock her up and throw away the key. And we have to remember, Lily and Jack are not Daniel's children. He has no rights to Lily and Jack. There's no reason for her to hide them. No reason at all. No reason. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So, you know, um, and again, uh, I don't know if that's intentional denial or if it's denial because her brain just can't go there and it's her mind's way of protecting her. I don't know. But yeah, it definitely and my gosh, if they tried to lock any woman up, and I'm speaking in general because we know that's not what took place here because they're not Daniel's children. It just doesn't even make sense. Um, but I mean, I'll be shocked. I will, if that's the case, I will be shocked. But it just doesn't make sense. But in general, there are women that have had to do that, of course, right? Because of the circumstances they're in. My goodness, if charges were laid and they tried to lock any of those women up, there would be an outrage. There would be, am I saying that right? There would be outrage. There would be outrage. I know I would be. Like, no way. No way. No. That that's not going to happen because a woman saved her children? No. No, especially when law enforcement knows with statistics like that going on in a household and how hard it is for women to get out of a situation like that. They're not then going to turn around and lock them up because they successfully did so, because they successfully did get out of that household. Uh, no, that's not going to happen. However, again, like I said, these are not Daniel's children. There's no reason for that to even take place. There'd be no reason. Um, but Nova, wouldn't she, in my opinion, have to show proof of her kids if that's truth? Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing too. If that would that would be all over and done with by now, right? There'd be no reason for her not to speak up and say, "Hey, this is what took place. We're out safely now." Um, and blah 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 blah. And the police would the police would not be charging her with that. No, that's not how it goes. Can you imagine what would what kind of message would that send to do that? And I'm speaking in general again because this is not even something to me that is took place because they're not his children. It just doesn't make sense. But can you imagine if they, if they treated a woman who did have, who women who have done that, if they were treated them in that way, and they would tell her that if that's what took place here, you're not going to be charged. We're supportive of women in abuse situation, blah 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 blah. And they would have that information. They would know where the kids are by now. So it's not something that has happened. It just doesn't make sense. Um, please leave your questions in the chat for Novah. Yes. And you guys, if you have any questions or comments, go for it because I am ready now. And we're at 2 hours now. So if you guys want to uh if you have any questions or comments or go ahead and write them. Right, D has no, yeah, exactly, Robin. No rights to the kids, so no reason to hide them. Exactly. It's all BS. And now, can you imagine? So, you know that Belinda would, and by the way, guys, Belinda Gray is the grandmother of the other grandmother. There's paternal grandmother who uh, had always been very loving and caring towards Lily and Jack until Malaya had cut everyone off. Um, but so I guess for about a year and a half, I think it was, uh, that Belinda didn't get to see the children. So, but yeah, she would have no reason to do that. She would have been able to call Belinda and say, "Come take the kids." Blah blah blah. Like, and I'm sure Daniel wouldn't have cared if she had a given Lily and Jack away to somebody else. Um, I'm sure that wouldn't have been an issue. So no, it just does not make sense. Night night night. Thanks for being here, Brian. It's always the pleasure to have you. Yes, sweet dreams, Brian. Sweet dreams. Um, Hi, Melissa. Thanks for being here. I don't think I've seen your name before. Praying for Lily and Jack. Heart goes out to Belinda. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have no question. Well, yes. And we've been looking at your opinions throughout. I've been putting everything up on the screen. Anything I put up on the screen, I always read, and that's why I put it up to let you guys know I read it. uh, yeah, yeah. So if you guys are good, then I'll skedaddle because I'll tell you, I'm tired. My eyes are sore. My sinuses are sore. Uh, and hello there, Zena. Thanks for being here. Hi, Nova. I hope they find them. Did they look in the truck? Well, I know they looked in vehicles. I don't know what truck you mean specifically, but they did look in vehicles. Yeah. Yeah. They did an extremely thorough search. Thank you again, Joyous. Thank you again for your support. Um, yeah, it's always a pleasure to have you here as well. Love your thoughts on things. Um, Paul, so why was he so certain that children weren't in the bushes? From day one, he said that, even though he was out searching. I know. Yeah, he did. And he also said that he wasn't really searching that hard because he didn't believe that they were out there. The narrative was being pushed from day one that Malaya did something. Malaya had something to do with it from day one. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, warm, steamy shower and peppermint oil helps the sinuses. Yeah. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna let you go. Lots of love to you all. Positive vibes. And I don't know if I had to take the missing posters out of here to do the video up of Lily and Jack. Now I have to put them back up because you can only have so many pictures in there at once. So I took them all out, put the pictures in of Lily and Jack. Now I have to take the pictures of Lily and Jack out and put the missing posters back in. It's a lot of work. So I'll probably do that with the next couple of days while I'm nursing the flu here because I have a feeling tomorrow I'm going to feel a lot worse for some reason. You know that day you have that's really bad before you start to feel better? Yeah, here I'll come on camera to say goodbye to you all. So goodbye everyone and thank you for being here. Oh, look, I'm a mess. My bra strap's hanging off my arm. And vitamin D, yes, and K2, yeah. Potassium, yeah. Uh, Thanks guys. Thanks for coming. Lots of love and positive vibes to you all. And anybody else out there that has the flu, hope you get better and feel better too. It's, look up how thyme helps sinus issues too. Okay. Hi, little bit. Little bit. It's cute. Uh, and I'll see you again when I'm back. I can't promise you when it'll be, but, it'll be once I'm feeling better. Oh, and by the way, I will be changing the channel up some. Um, my next video, my next live is going to be a members live. So we'll talk about the channel during that live, okay? And yeah, and it's going to be a members live. I will give out some memberships that day. So hopefully you lucky winners will join the live. And yeah, and we'll try to have a little bit of fun. And I've got some I joined this, it's called Medium, not the medium, medium, and not medium as in fortune teller. I'll explain it to you when during the live, but they have all kinds of stories and some of them are very interesting. So I thought we could do like a story time, which I've been wanting to do for a while. My voice. I wanted to do for a while, but I was hoping people would want to share their stories, but that takes a lot to write the stories up and whatnot. So these stories are already written and we can go through them. Oh, thank you, Robin. We'll do a little happy Friends Forever 2 song before I close out for you and Joyous. And thank you. Thank you so much, Robin. Yeah, so the next one will be a members live. So I will play this song closing out and I will see you guys again on the flip side. Always Friends song. Friends Forever, that's what it is. Friends Forever. Again, thank you, Robin, and thank you, Joyce. Good night, everyone.